first chat of the morning focuses on podcasting, the new it medium. Who here has a podcast? Oh, just a few people. Wow, usually everyone has a podcast. Very good. I like this crowd. Okay, so here to spark the conversation is the tech editor for Black Enterprise, Sequoia Blodgett. Please welcome Sequoia.
What's up, you guys? I can't get started if the energy's like this, because this can't be life, right? What is up, Tech Connect? That's what's popping. Okay, so we want to get into the business of podcasting. I have a podcast, BE The Code, and so I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks for the folks out there who are actually trying to get started in the podcast community. So you guys ready? Are you guys ready? All right, so let's get started. First and foremost, how to start. So the thing is, with the podcast community, it's kind of like where YouTube used to be when YouTube first came out. And people are trying to figure out, okay, what is my voice? What's the communication sound like? What's the Q&A? Is it a storytelling style? So what you want to do is you want to figure out, how do you stand out from the crowd? You want to figure out what that topic is and focus on a topic that's going to make you differentiated from everyone else. You guys got that? Cool. All right. Next step is, how do you create content that is going to be viable with low-key technology? So what type of podcast do you want to produce, and what does that technology look like? A lot of people are like, I don't want to create a podcast because it's so difficult. I'm going to have to get up and set up these microphones, and then I need this audio equipment and all these things. But do you guys know that there's apps out there that will help you create your podcast for you? Yeah? So make sure you tap into those particular apps. One of those apps is Anchor. Anchor will help you get your podcast out there. You can actually do podcasts via phone if you want people involved, and you can have multiple listeners at once. And what's even more interesting about Anchor is it will get you on Spotify, iTunes, and all of those other podcast networks that you guys want to be on. So make sure you take note of that, okay? Okay, so lastly, everybody's like, okay, I've created this podcast, I've got these episodes, but how do I get into the market, right? How do I tap into an audience? Because don't nobody want no content that ain't nobody listening to, right? All right, so if you guys have a social media following, that's already a part of your audience. So what you want to do is you're going to create a link, and you're going to put that link within your social media profile. And what's going to happen is you're going to drive traffic back to that link. So that link can go directly to your podcast. That link can go to a landing page where you can collect emails and then send people your podcast episodes. That link is going to service you in order to get and tap into your audience. And you don't have to have 20 million followers. You don't have to even have 1 million followers. You can start with a really simple base of followers, and essentially that will become your community and your network. Got it? Perfect. All right, so without further ado, I want to make sure that you guys are getting some live podcasting while you're here, right? Yeah? All right. So without further ado, I want to introduce two amazing men. We had a little faux pas with one of them, Van Lathan. He had a family emergency, but we brought in somebody equally amazing and dope from the Bay Area, KBLX's Armand Carr with All Tied Up, and Philip Agnew with Dream Defenders. Please help me in welcoming them.
How's it going, Tech Connect?
Morning.
Come on now, you can bring it better than that. How's it going, Tech Connect? So I'm very pleased to have this brother here, very honored to have this brother here. First of all, my name is Armand. I work for 102.9 KBLX here in the Bay Area, and my podcast is called Listen Up Bay Area, where I highlight community and individuals that are doing wonderful things in the community. And this brother is doing wonderful things in his community, and I think he needs to share this with the world. So without further ado, please give it up for Philip Agnew.
How y'all doing? So I'm glad to be here. I know we the first ones in the morning, but y'all can respond. Y'all can turn up a little bit. You're gonna get your job.
Yes.
You're gonna be all right. So we're excited about being here this morning. Okay?
All right. So you from Chicago, brother?
Chicago, West Inglewood.
Okay.
West Inglewood. Okay.
Okay. All right. So first of all, Chi-Town.
Yeah.
Can I call it Chi-Town? Is that okay?
It's better than Chirac. Don't call it that.
I won't do
call
that.
it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as Chicago is concerned, how is it compared to the Bay Area?
I mean, Chicago, you've got to look at everything in the context of the Southern migration. People in the South were forced to move all over the country looking for jobs, getting away from what was seen as the worst living conditions in the history of people. And so Chicago and the Bay Area, I've always had an affinity. It's a Southern cool mixed with that urban dynamic. The Bay has a lot of love. You know somebody's from the Bay within minutes of meeting them. You know somebody's from Chicago within minutes of meeting them. So they got a lot of similarities.
Okay, great. So now you go to school in Chicago. You went to school in Chicago.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you went to school in Florida.
Yeah, I went to Florida A&M University. We just had our homecoming.
Okay.
I survived.
You survived?
I survived. I made it. I made it.
And tell us about Florida. What made you want to go to school over in Florida?
Well, I mean, long story short, I'm the first in my family to go to school.
Oh, congratulations.
And so, yeah. So I grew up in church. I grew up playing music. So I was already, I don't know if y'all know, if you play for church, you can make some real good money playing for churches. And so Jesus pays in cash too. So I was bringing home, you know, a good amount of money as a high school senior and junior, and I wasn't going to college, but I got to give it to my church. I went to St. Mark United Methodist. I played for them.
Wow.
And they asked me where I was going. A lot of them had gone to Florida A&M University. And I'm going to date myself, but Drumline had just come out. I said, if I'm going to go to a school, I got to go to a school like that. FAMU was nothing like that, but it was better in all the ways that it needed to be. It was the only school that I could have gone to that could have taken a young cat from Chicago who had never even been on a plane, right? Who had really never left Illinois, never left Chicago. I still haven't even been to the capital of Illinois, right? And to bring me, to nurture me. And what it did instill in me at that time was that the world was always bigger than what I thought it was, right? And to be a student at a historically black college, you had a duty that you were carrying on a legacy of ancestors before. And so no matter, I joined the frat, I joined student government, I got internships, I was in the business school. Wow. No matter what I did in that field, it was always taught to us that if the governor said something crazy, we was gonna march. Okay. If somebody tried to take away tuition at our school, we was gonna march. Right. If we didn't get what we wanted, we had to do extra, and so it was always we always had a reputation for activism, and that's kind of where all of this got started.
Wow. So talk to me about Dream Defenders.
Yeah, so Dream Defenders was started in 2012 after the murder of Trayvon Martin. And I had co-started an organization when I was in school. This all really dates back to 2006. It was a young man named Martin Lee Anderson who was murdered in a boot camp in Florida. And the video had come out and it changed my life. I had grown up in West Inglewood, but I had never seen somebody murdered, right? And the fact that they were gonna cover that up, he was murdered by the guards there, that really struck me at that time, including my brother had been in a boot camp similar to where this young man was murdered. And so Dream Defenders comes out of a moment where I know all of us remember. We heard those tapes. We heard the 911 calls. We saw this young man die laying in the grass. We saw somebody who obviously murdered him be able to be let off from that. Wow. And so our organization really starts from that with the understanding that the only way that we're going to get what we want, we have to do different things, right? And we come from the history, I think you talked about it before, we come from a history of Black Panthers, right? Who said that individually we can't do much, right? But together as an organization with a strong ideology, with strong principles, with an understanding of the law and an understanding of our place in this society, that we can actually change something for generations. And so that's the history that we came up under. Wow. And Florida right now in 2018 is one of only 3 states in the country that if you have a felony conviction, you cannot vote for the rest of your life. Wow. Right? And so you are relegated to permanent second-class citizenry, right? And so we have fought with a number of people around the state of Florida, and in November, this November, it'll be on the ballot for 1.4 million people to get their right to vote back. And so we have an opportunity to change the state of Florida for history. And as Florida goes, the country goes. Right. And so we've been grinding out for a lot of years. It's been hard. We were in vogue for a little while, and we fell out of vogue for some of our more radical views, but we've come back stronger than ever. We have the opportunity to elect Andrew Gillum as the governor of the state of Florida. And Andrew is another rattler. This is a recurrent theme that y'all gonna get from me.
Yep. Okay.
And so he's come from that tradition as well.
So how does the Dream Defenders help the kids? What do you do with the kids?
Well, I mean, everybody says it and it's cliche now, but our children really, we've got to understand that from a very young age, we're taught who to be, how to be, where to be, from our schools, from our churches, from Disney movies. We are indoctrinated in a certain way of being. And even me to this day, I've tried my best to unfurl what it means to be a man, what it means to be a brother, what it means to be a fraternity brother, what it means to be all of these different things. I've tried every single day. Right. I try to reprogram myself, right? And try to, do things right. Right. Yet and still, it's a part of my DNA at this point. So with young people, what we do is we educate them about the trueness of who they are. Right? Excellent. You understand what I'm saying? We say that you'll never get the education you need to overthrow this system from school, right? And so we got young people and we're teaching them how to be civically engaged. We're teaching them about what it means to stand up. We got somebody holding up the book right here. Right. We're teaching them that the only way that they're going to be able to thrive in this society is if they take life by their reins and don't take no for an answer. And that's something that we've always learned. We also believe in organization. Black Enterprise is an organization. It's more than a publication, right? They understood that they had a magazine first, right? But they needed a whole wealth of other things to build an infrastructure, right? To build something for our community that lasts way longer than our time on this earth. And so our organization is about just that, building organization. That it is not individuals, as this United States teaches us in this story, right? That one man out of nowhere picked himself up from his bootstraps and made everything happen, right? This is a fictitious story that we're told from a very young age. It is only through my community that I'm here. That's okay. Right. It's only because people on my block said, "Listen, you're going this way," right? It's only because people in my community, in my churches, in my community centers, in my music schools said, "I don't care about all that stuff you talking. You getting out of here." Right? And so we have a duty also to feed back and sow back into our communities.
Excellent, excellent. That's good. So, as a radio personality, things have changed a lot. Yeah. Podcast is one of them. Yep. Okay. I had to adapt to the new technology, social media being one of them. And at first I was like, no, I don't need to be seen. I want to be kind of the man behind the mic because, I got a face for radio. Be mysterious. So I was saying, okay. But then the social media thing started to really grow. Right. And my company's telling me I got to get on social media on a regular basis.
You got to create content.
Exactly. At first I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. This is going to hurt my brand. And then I started to dive more into it, and it actually helped my brand. How has social media helped your cause?
So I wanna push back on something you just said really quickly. Okay. I have these moments every time I speak, right? Right. Where I think language is very important.
Yes.
And I want to say, if you all are the future holders of our world, the creators of our reality and our virtual reality, I have to say this: you all are not brands. You all are not brands. You are not a brand. You are not a corporation, right? You are a human being. You are not meant to monetize every part of your soul and deliver every part of your soul for content for people, right? So we live in a society that thrives off of capitalism, right? And I'm not gonna get too far into that. You can talk to me at the bar later about that, right? I will talk to you about it for hours. But what I want to say is, we are at a point now where everything is being automated, right? There are no 50 years ago there were industrial jobs, right? There were manufacturing jobs, and I'm not here to rail about the fact that we need to go back to building cars ourselves, though that would be great, or building things ourselves, though that would be great. But what I do want to say is that we cannot get into a place where we've replaced the protection of being a worker, the value of organizing with other people up against corporations in lieu of us selling our rooms, selling our cars, selling our work on apps like Tackle, etc. That's not actually the world that we want to live in. And so as future framers of technology, as the framers of reality and virtual reality, you all must understand that, I feel like I sound like one of them dudes in them old movies.
Yeah. But
there must be a balance between the human intuition and empathy and technology, right? We are the most connected, yet the most disconnected generation in the history of all things, right? And so how it has helped my cause is it allowed us to tell a story that wasn't able to be told on mainstream media. So we use Twitter, we use Instagram, we use YouTube, we use everything at our disposal in 2012 and continuing to tell a story and reshape a narrative, as we've seen people do around the world and around the country. Yet and still, that does not replace and will never replace human interaction with another human being, right? And that is something that technology cannot replicate. Technology is a microphone, but if there's no voice, if there's no human voice behind that microphone, that human voice is not thinking, and that human heart is not feeling, then it is nothing but death for us. So what we use it as a supplement. It is our amplifier to what we have done. But every day our organization is knocking on doors. We talking to people. I'm annoying people who are like, why are you talking to me? I'm like, because you're a human and we standing like close to each other, and that's what we do. We talk to each other. And so with respect, I try my best to always engage people, and that's what building an organization of real people does. It talks to people, and that's what social media helped us to amplify the real work we were doing on the ground.
That's excellent. That's excellent. All right, so you got the attention of a very prestigious organization called the GEO Group.
Right.
Tell us about that.
GEO Group, for y'all that don't know, is the largest private prison company in the world. Okay, GEO Group. They, along with companies like JPay. How many of y'all got somebody in jail? Don't be embarrassed. How many of y'all heard of JPay?
How many of y'all going to jail?
Right. Depends.
We checking warrants.
Yeah, so there are companies, and I'm sure you all are very intelligent people. You all already know that for the last 20 to 30 years, we have fully privatized our incarceration system. And what happens when you privatize an industry like that is they do everything that they can to make more money. So they cut food quality, they cut medical quality, and they do all manner of evil to people. They hire the most horrible people into these prisons. And so the GEO Group is the #1 largest. They run immigrant detention facilities. They've now moved into running halfway houses and doing probation. Companies like JPay run probation. They giving people tablets in there that you gotta, it's 30 cents to send an email to somebody. And what we do in this society far too often, and I wanna talk about, you know, as black people in this country, it's not just, representation is a beautiful thing. I love seeing black people everywhere. But if you don't have a black consciousness about you, right? A class consciousness that will not allow you to sit in your fancy home, right? Or what I was in business school. Listen to me, I did it. I did 4 years corporate America. I was peddling pharmaceuticals for 4 years for Eli Lilly. I did it all. I networked. I had the business cards from Vistaprint. I had the hard ones, the ones you could, the ones with the, it was almost braille. You could feel my name on that joint. I had all of them.
You didn't get the glossy? No glossy?
No, no glossy.
Oh,
I had the matte.
brother.
You gotta go with matte. The matte.
Okay.
But so I don't want y'all to take this first session as somebody who's railing against your, you know, what you want to do in the world. But we have to forget that it's people behind bars right now who not only do they not deserve to be there, but if they are there, they are treated as subhuman in our society. We forget about all of them. And so to go back to your question, GEO Group runs these facilities, and we've been protesting against them for many, many years. And so about 3 months ago, they sent us a cease and desist letter because we put out commercials calling them, you know, basically the worst people on earth. And we send our own legal retraction to that. And they had to back down because the way you fight a cease and desist is with the facts. And we had the facts on our side. And so what I would encourage everybody here to do is research the GEO Group, research JPay, see the atrocious things they're doing for millions and billions of dollars, and then talk to me, talk to an organization who's doing some work around them, because just because somebody is behind bars does not mean that we should forget about them and that we should leave them behind.
All right, so we're going to take some questions. That's great. Before we let Philip go, we're going to take some questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions for Philip? My brother.
Is there any prevalent technology that you guys are using besides social media, that you guys are using to push your message?
Right now, it's all social media. I think, you know, one place of technology that I've seen and I've witnessed, and I hope that it could be helpful for groups like ours, is virtual reality. The ability from the comfort of your home to put yourself in someone else's shoes. I'm on the board for Planned Parenthood as well. And they put us through an experience where we actually drove to an abortion clinic. And me, I'm a cynic. Everybody says, I'm from Chicago, so you're not gonna just put no computer on my head and make me feel something. But I really, this is a true story. I watched it and there were people around the car yelling, you're a disgrace to God, all these things. And afterwards they asked me how I felt. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty crazy. It was like, you know, your fist was balled up the whole time. And I think there's that technology, once it becomes more widely available and we have the capacity to have people who can direct and create content for that type of technology, is something that we will use. It is not a replacement for empathy, though, right? And so there's always going to be a balance, but I think virtual reality is a frontier for many people who are trying to get people to understand what it means to be driving, right? And see red and blue lights behind you, right? I don't think most white people in this country can understand that that's never felt soothing for a person. You never have felt, you know, I've never had that feeling of, oh, my neighborhood policeman is here to save me from going too fast. You know what I'm saying? And so I think experiences like that allow us, but then what we must do is take those people from that experience and then move them into some sort of action.
All right, well, thank you, brother. Give it up one more time.
Oh, wow.
All right. So we have a question here in the front. I think we have time for one more question. And she has
a book.
A book.
Hi, my name is Joe McNally. So I authored this book, The Hero in the Helmet, Colin Kaepernick. So one thing I connected with you saying is what you do for the children and how the stories of police brutality really affected you. And that was kind of my same thing too. I was so affected by Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice, especially 12 years old, that Colin Kaepernick's protests really kind of stirred something up in me, and I felt compelled to do something, to be part of something greater than, you know, just sitting around and just whatever you know. I didn't have a chance to go to an HBCU, but I fully am open to the call of activism. So I'd love to hear more about your program with the youth and what you do, and I also have this book for you as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have a music studio. We do arts programs. Most of what we do is trying to reach them where they are. They love video games. They love to play. And so we try to integrate that into their experience and draw them in. That's all it is. In Miami, just as in Chicago, they've had a huge spike in youth violence. And there's a lot of people around the country who are saying we need more police. We got a police department right in the hood. They have not stopped one shooting. Okay, let me tell you, they ain't got a shooter off the street. They haven't done anything, right? But the number one, anybody will tell you, people who study it and go read and write papers and theses about this subject, say the number one way to curb youth violence is to give them something to do. Give them something to do, right? And so we've closed community centers and opened up police departments, right? We've closed summer jobs programs, which saved my life. I was a part of Gallery 37 in Chicago, which said, look, I'm gonna put you to work over the summer, right? For real, no money, but you had something to do. It was something to do, and it showed me another side of the city. And so that's a little bit, I'm down to talk to you more about it afterwards too.
All right, any other questions? We can go here, since she's closer. Right over there, you got it? Okay.
thank you, Armando, and our beloved Philip Agnew. Both of you are beloved.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. You got a cool voice, man.
And that means a lot coming from him.
Yeah.
I have a book here because actually we've written to the mayor of Chicago. The violence there is so, but it's not only Chicago. We know in San Francisco, you know, all over, and also to Florida. How do you think you can help us? Because this book, if they read it, if any of my brother have a gun, he want to shoot the next brother, he read this book, within 5 minutes, it will cool his brain down.
Okay.
So I need your help because we need to, this is a war to retrieve our brothers and of course our beautiful sisters be cut down prematurely. So we need your help on how can this be executed properly.
Okay. You know, whatever help I can offer. Real quick about Chicago, very quickly. They tore down housing developments, threw people together who are already on top of each other, came through with a raid and took all of the leaders out of the communities, right? And so this is not young black people are not born violent. It's not our genetic predisposition to want to kill one another and steal, right? We have to look at the environment and the sequence of events that leads to certain things like this. So when Rahm throws his hands up and acts like he doesn't know how this all started, you need only to look at Mayor Daley and what they did. They took all the leaders, they took all the gang leaders, and so I'm not ever one to wholeheartedly, full-throatedly say all gangs are for positivity, but there was a law, right? There was a code of ethics that was eviscerated by the police department on purpose. You tear down the housing developments, you move people who are tribal because they have nothing, right? You've taken everything away from them already, and you move them and put them on top of each other, and then you throw your hands up and wonder how all of this is happening. And so I would say there are a number of solutions, including jobs, including education, including greater opportunity, and including more people who are willing to speak up and say, listen, our young black people need and deserve far more, and who are really willing to fight about it and not willing to just invest money in more police.
Next question. Right here.
Good morning. I think it's
Morning.
morning. I'm from Chicago. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Good morning. So my name's Ashley Kirkwood. I'm a civil rights lawyer and a startup lawyer. And my question to you, actually, after winning some civil rights trials, was how do you suggest we make a wholesale change to the prison system across the United States? Like, what's the best way to do it? Do you think that legislation is best? Do you think that coordinated trials are best on the state level? Because it's such a large problem, and I've had problems with legislators wanting to say, okay, let's change these laws on prison when they're up for re-election. So how have you overcome that, and what front do you think is the most effective?
I'm not a wholesale expert on what is the most effective. I can tell you what I've seen, and then I can offer really quickly some things that I haven't seen that I would want to see more of. First, I would say decarceration. And so California has had a little bit of success more recently being able to say, well, if young white kids can sell weed now, and it is now in vogue, then all of the hundreds of thousands of young black men who have been put in prison for doing the very same thing should be let out of prison.
Right.
And so I think, and I just want to be clear, you're only getting a sample of me. As much a race person I am also a class person, so we'll talk about that as well. But right now, we should be fighting across the country for decarceration. If the country is going to move fully into allowing people to grow weed and sell weed and manufacture weed and cook weed and spread weed and drink weed and rub weed, whatever, you know, if you could be ashy, you just, whatever you want to do, we should be decarcerating right now, right? I would also say I think abolition needs to stop being such a scary word for people in this room and in other rooms, right? The fact of the matter is our prison system was never made to protect and serve and make sure people are safe. The prison system and our policing system was put in place to protect the interests of the elite, right? And right now, with there being no job, the prison system serves as a way to hide excess labor, right? Because if we really knew how few jobs there were, in this country, there would be a lot more uprising than there is right now. But they're able to hide a good portion of that unwanted population and labor force behind bars, right? Wow. And so we've got to understand that these systems were never made for us. Whenever we talk about prisons, we always talk about the man or maybe the woman, but most likely the man who's murdered 20 people, 30 people, the man who's raped. And I believe that those people must be taken away from society, but in a different way, right? So let's be clear about this. But the great majority of the people in jail are in jail for selling weed, are in jail for selling coke, right? The very thing that built Miami, right? The very thing that's still financing the skyscrapers in Miami. And so we have to talk about that and don't let people confuse the issue too much. It's very simple.
Great, excellent.
Hi, I'm Darlene Brooks Thomas, and I'm an author, I'm a parent mentor, I'm a mother's advocate, and I have a lot in common with you. I want to commend you on the work that you're doing. One of the things that I do is work with mothers on probation, and as they're about to reenter society, and I teach them. I teach parenting classes, and here's my book, by the way, and I really want to talk to you. I'm a supporter of HBCUs. I'm an elder also, by the way. My daughter was Miss Fisk 2017, 2018.
Come on
she
now.
was also Miss National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame. So she was Miss HBCU for the past year, Crystal Brooks. I'm here to learn and connect with all of you young people because the question I have is, you said that you did commercials. And I wanted to know, did you do the commercials? Did you pay for the airtime? Where did you air the commercials? And are you a nonprofit? Did you have a sponsor for the commercials? Because I want to use the content of my book, and I want to use them in audio and video as commercials. But PSAs are kind of passé. And you said commercial, which is different than a PSA. And I just wanted to talk to you about that. So hopefully we can connect later and just share some ideas. And I'd love to do some work with you. Children.
So I'm going to take the first part of this question, start a podcast. This is, the point of this is to inspire you all to start a podcast. Because with commercial radio, sometimes you have to pay an arm and a leg to get your company recognized and your organization recognized. So when you start your own, you own it, you don't have to pay for it, and you'll be surprised who will pay to be on your podcast. And that's how you make revenue. Okay? So that answers your first question.
You know, quickly, we raise money. We say we're a revolutionary organization with a 501c3, not a nonprofit. We have a 501c4 as well, and we just started a PAC. And all of those are ways for us to be able to maneuver legally in a way that shields us as much as possible from what we know is going to come from right-wing attacks. We did do a commercial. We've done PSAs. We raised money for those things. And we also did a billboard campaign in 2014 where we advertised a child-sized bulletproof vest for back to school. Wow. To highlight the importance of going out to vote in that political climate.
Wow, wow. Next question.
Hey, my name is Tyne. I'm actually a founder of a platform called the Black Bay Area. Basically, my question is, how, as a person who's running a content platform, we really expose when people are behaving poorly in terms of like race relations in the Bay Area, technology organizations that are not hiring Black people, things that are really plaguing the Black community in the Bay. My question for you is, as a content creator and a person who is moderating this platform, I tend to see that people are intrigued and like really are active online, but they're not taking that activism and using it offline. And so is it still effective to keep creating these like podcasting platforms, Instagram platforms, and things of that nature when we don't really, as a Black community, we don't have any ownership or we're not stakeholders of these large tech organizations? Do you think that protesting is still effective, or is creating these online communities gonna gear the change that we need in order to like make the bottom of, to make people change kind of like policies around that will fundamentally change communities? Let me know if my question isn't clear.
It's very clear. I'll just go back to what I said before. I think it is the responsibility of people and organizations to move people from online to offline engagement. It is easy. It's called the pleasure principle. If I found that I can do something very, very easily and I can receive pleasure from it in a variety of different ways, it's very hard to push me into some other level of engagement. And we've got to become better at pushing people to doing things in the real world, right? Social media is an incredible forum, as I said, to amplify. But I would say it's up to organizations like myself. I take it upon myself. I went a whole 6 months, a year telling people social media gonna kill you. Why you doing this?
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it is here. For the foreseeable future, it's not going anywhere, and it is, in fact, becoming a more essential part of our lives. And so it is up to people like yourself and other people who actually care about what's going on in the real world to move those people and give people opportunities for that transfer of activity from online to offline. And that's the simplest way I would say it.
Before we take the next question, I have one question for you, because this brother is decorated, okay?
Got
and I
flair.
used to wear my little Michael Jackson button, my little New Edition button, back in the day. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But these buttons, I want to know which button means the most to you.
Oh man, that's I don't know.
And why? Tell me.
I don't really know.
Just
I mean, if I'm honest, they all equal importance. I don't have one that's the most. You know what? I'm gonna just say this one. I'll just say the Black Boy Joy one.
Okay.
I think for myself as a black person who, if I'm honest, as maybe together as I possibly seem in this forum, I think I've always had a battle with what I thought I was supposed to do and be, and what I knew myself, what I wanted to be, right? And so I think just the concept in this moment where we've just shown, the Supreme Court has shown itself once again to be what it always has been, where our government continues to show us that it cares little about public opinion and protest in women, where frankly, no matter the condition, healthcare, the environment, we just found out by 2030, we're gonna be all on oceanfront property. I think the concept of joy as a fuel for action, not as an escape from action, but the concept of joy as a catalyst for something is something that's been really important for me. And, I do go back and forth with people, but I'm gonna continue to try to live my best life.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Living my best life. We ain't going back and forth.
Yeah, so that's what I would say.
We got about 45 more seconds. We're going to take one more question. Who has the microphone?
Right here.
So y'all just going to put it on me, huh? Who from the Bay?
Hi, right here.
Right.
Right here.
Oh,
Right there, you got it?
Hi, my name is Marcy Jones, and I am the founder of Urban Connoisseurs, which is all about wine from black winemakers. So it has nothing to do with tech.
That's
but
important.
I can do that. I wanted to first say I love what you mentioned about keeping youth busy, especially in the summer, and giving them something to do to prevent them from incarceration. I grew up in a family where my parents kept us busy. I raised my children to not be idle. And I lived in Philadelphia for a while, so I wonder if you're familiar with the organization Philadelphia Youth Network.
Yes.
They have a proven template and track that I just don't see happening in any other cities. And have you thought about connecting with them, taking that template down to Florida or to Chicago and seeing how they make that work? They have partnered with educators, they partnered with corporate America, and I was a part of working with them in their summer youth program where they paid their youth to work. And so proven track record. And I don't see that anywhere else, and just wonder, what's your take on taking already existing templates and recreating what is working?
I think the concept is brilliant. I know them, Philadelphia Student Union. There's a lot of dope stuff. Even in the Bay, I mean, Reverend McBride with PICO and Ceasefire and Live Free. There's a number of organizations, my friend FM Supreme in Chicago, Chicago Youth Peace. I think there's a number of models, and we should no matter how bad things are, we should always scour and look for those organizations who are doing the work and building the template. We've got a dope template as well. I'm always take the meat, leave the bones. So if there's something that we could work with and move it down and it works and it applies, then I think we should all use that. That is what technology does, right? It takes the best practices from different industries and applies it in ways that haven't been to your specific interests. And so I'm down for that. I'm excited about this opportunity to build with y'all for the rest of the day. This brother has some incredible work he's doing here for young people. So the world is ours if we really start to see ourselves as a community and less as individuals.
That's right. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, but I want to thank each and every one of you for chiming in with us. And I want to thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I really appreciate
Seriously,
it.
I
really
appreciate you. And please make sure you hashtag TechConnect. You already know the hashtag. But this brother right here is doing amazing things. And how can we get a hold of you? What's your social media outlets?
I'm at Field of Dreams. Well, actually, yeah, on Instagram it's just 1D. And I use mostly Instagram. I am addicted to Instagram. And our organization is at Dream Defenders. At Dream Defenders on Twitter. And at The Dream Defenders. Nope, we just changed it, actually. Sorry. On Twitter, it is at Dream Defenders Action. And the same on Instagram, at Dream Defenders Action. And if you're in Miami and don't want to go to South Beach and want to be with some real people, holla at me.
Okay. All right. You know what? They're giving us a little bit more time. Thank goodness.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at that. Look
God,
at God.
press down,
Look
shake
at
it
God.
together.
Okay. Okay. But okay. So we're gonna take some more questions. Who has a microphone? We gotta have a microphone. So
two more.
Two more.
Over here.
And then we got some folks up here up front that want to ask some questions as well.
How you doing? I'm Terry Griffin here from Oakland with Better Black.
What's up, Terry?
Hey, what's up, Armand? How you doing?
I'm good, bro. You owe me $5.
Since we're talking about, helping people build podcasts, can we talk more about how collaboration instead of competition will work with that? So instead of 500 new podcasts coming, how two organizations or even three can collab and start one podcast and build their fan base and things together?
Okay, so we're gonna run DMC this one right quick. So I'm gonna start this off. I'm run. So I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of organizations, they're literally going against each other. When we can just combine, we can collaborate. And I always say we all have our individual lanes, but we get there faster if we just carpool. Period.
There it
And
is.
I've all tied up as partner with Better Black, and I believe we have to come together. We don't have to, sign paperwork. Let's just come together, because the kids only see one thing, and that's us.
Ditto.
There. Drop it.
There it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Next question.
Hello.
Gotta have a microphone.
Right here.
There you go.
My name's Philip. I own
2 L's or 1?
2 L's.
Nice.
2 L's.
Y'all know LLs out here.
You mentioned something about branding, and I think a lot of us in here are probably used to being in different tech spaces, the only one or one of a small number of ones. So if we're not going to use ourselves as a brand, do you have some ideas on how to not be a brand but differentiate without being the only one?
No, well, I want to be clear. Without dismissing what I was saying, I think it does boil down to language and semantics. I think each one of us in an increasingly competitive environment such as this one, where there's only 2% of slots at Facebook or Google for one of us, it is important to differentiate yourself, because you're in front of a hiring panel, or I understand what that is. What I'm talking about is the language of corporatizing your being. You are not Philip Inc., right? Every part of you is not up for sale in the industry in order for you to achieve. And what that also means is that when we slide down a slippery slope, and this is just explaining, I don't actually have the best answer for you. I think continue to be the great person that you are. dress fly, smell good, chew gum.
Right.
But I would say, I would just say it is a slippery slope when we start thinking of human beings as corporations. We then start to view corporations as human beings. And that is a very slippery slope that has got us in a political system that has allowed for corporations, people who make billions of dollars, to find themselves at equal footing with somebody who's scrounging together pennies every single day, 3-4 jobs just to pay for something in our political process. And so what I really was speaking to is the language that we use to describe who we are and what we are. We are not commodities. We are not things to be traded. We are not stocks. We are not any of those things. And those things sound crazy now, but we are. If you're already talking about yourself as a brand, a thing that is to be purchased, a thing that somebody goes down the aisle and looks at, whether it's extra large, large, medium, or small, whether it has great flavor, right? That you are not on par with a product. And so that's the thing that really grinds my gears.
Yes,
when people
it does.
when people do that, because we're far more than that. And without, sounding really crazy, like Terminator 3, Terminator 4 against the machines, we really must begin to further differentiate ourselves in a world of automation, and one that there is no way you can replace the human heart and what it feels for another person and what you feel when you see a wrong done to another person. There's no way that you can replace what you feel when you love somebody, or what you feel when you do something that defies logic or algorithm or technology so that somebody else can survive and eat. You cannot replace that with a technology. And the more we put ourselves on par with that, even in our language, the more we open up the door for a future where we're not seen as anything but a disposable.
Know your worth. Know your worth. Too many of us devalue our worth. Know your worth, okay? Because they'll give you a number, and we'll take it because we're desperate. Don't do that.
All right, on this side, the neglected side of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, brother, we hear you.
My name is Jamaris Payton. I'm the co-founder of HBCU Wall Street, so shout out to family.
Yeah.
I'm an A&T graduate, but shout out to family.
Listen, we got love. We got love. See y'all next week.
Right. So my question in regards to podcasting, we have a podcast we've started about a year ago. We have a large Instagram following, but I guess in regards to the podcast, what is your advice for someone that's looking for their first sponsor?
So when it comes to sponsor, first of all, it has to be a good fit, okay? You can't have chicken and waffles and you're doing a Christian, well, I go there after church, hold on. But it has to be a good fit, okay? It has to be a good fit because, once again, know your worth. Know what you're bringing to the table, okay? And don't, just because of that dollar, because of that number, don't devalue yourself, okay? Microsoft, Google, all those, if you look at the advertisements you see on their pages, it's something that goes with the brand, okay? And I hate to even use that word now. Now you got me rethinking.
It's we'll get
now
there.
I got to think of a new.
We got a long weekend.
Okay.
I'm gonna just pop up whenever somebody say it at the bar. What?
So in regards to that, you got to also put a package together. Make sure you're packaged together. A lot of us have these wonderful products, but no package. I always say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Be prepared for your opportunity. So make sure you have a package together. Get with someone who's well-versed in the English language that can write something up for you, a 1-sheet, a 2-sheet, but something that you can present to these companies that want to advertise with you so they can see the value and they'll pay for it, trust me. Look at all that right there. That's how you know.
There's one over there. I don't know.
Microphone?
It's still rocking.
Just, girl in the green, come on.
I hear it.
Last question. keep this one.
So the question was, how have we been able to maneuver outside of a corporate infrastructure? Super quick, like I said before, I worked for 4 years in pharmaceutical sales, and my experience won't be the exact experience of you all's, but I wish I used to go to church a lot more, but one thing that has always stuck with me is faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And for me, it was that I knew it. I just can't explain it to you. I just knew I couldn't do that, and I was willing to do whatever it took to get out of that place and move into this new place that I needed to be in. I'm leaving Dream Defenders next month. It's ready for other people are ready to take it on. It's flourishing, and I've got a Jones in my bones to do something else. And I think that is what is required. Our opposition, which you can put whatever you want in that space, desires for us to feel that there is not an abundance of opportunities. We live in scarcity while they live in abundance. The things that I talk about they call are crazy, they live in it right now. We want a police system that actually makes us feel safe. They do it right now. We want a distribution of resources. They do it right now. We want to be in places where we can help other people, and they do all of it right now. We want clean water. They got it right now. We want clean air. They got it right now. So what we must do is take that leap of faith. Right. Structurally, I know that there are things, I'm still in debt in a lot of ways, but they're going to have to come find me.
All right. Wrap it up. All right.
I did change my name for a little while, too, so I
I saw that. All right, well, on that note, we have to wrap it up. And we want to thank you so much for participating in this wonderful workshop. Thank you again.
Much,
that's Listen Up Bay Area. You can catch me on 102.9 KBLX here in the Bay Area. I also host the Quiet Storm for all the grown and sexy out there. So if you want to get your slow jams on, if you want to get your slow jams, Sunday through Thursday starting at 8 p.m. right here in the Bay Area. Thank you once again. We're out of here. Black Enterprise Tech Connect.